Past weekend, I was going through the house, mumbling under my breath, turning off lights in rooms no one was in. And I'm like, oh my God, why do we leave all these lights on? There's no one down here. What is going on, everybody? Art Eddie here for the Life of Dad show. With me, of course, is my co-host, John Finkel, who's under the weather, but you know what? Even though everybody's listed day to day, like in sports, he's pulling through, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to get the job done. So thanks for taking the time to chat with me, Mr. Finkel. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I like to say I'm over the weather. You know, I mean, I feel like the only reason I have this little bit of a cold is because of my son, like enjoying spitting in my face, and you know, like little kids get into that, like,
Oh yeah,
like they just think it's hilarious. And like, the funny part about my cold is like I know the exact moment. Like, I took him to Monster Trucks for his birthday. It was 2 weeks ago. And we got home late. When I got home, my daughter was sleeping, which I knew was going to happen. They were watching a movie in my bedroom, and they both fell asleep. So I slept with the boy, like in the guest room, and we woke up. He woke me up. He was, wrestling or whatever, and we were like joking around. And I remember when his face got right next to my face, and he was like, "Dad," and like I was like yawning and just basically spit right down my throat. And I was like, "Oh, I'll be sick in about 4 days." And it was like clockwork. He had the green boogers coming out of his nose because all the kids are sick now. And so I knew it was coming. Fortunately, I really, maybe one day on the shelf, but the voice has not come back for some reason.
Oh man, well, get better soon. I know you're over the weather and that. Yeah, there. You know that one point, like I can kind of see when like my daughters are sick or my wife gets sick, and I'm just like, all right, yeah, it's only a matter of time. You can take as much vitamin C, drink water, exercise, whatever the case may be, but you know it's coming.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that you know that are coming, there are certain times that might just hit you out of the clear blue. And this topic is we had on the lunch break on Wednesday, and we're continuing the conversation here. Go to the Life of Dad Facebook page Mondays and Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we chat with a bunch of great dads who just check out the show online, and we just share all things that revolve around the world of fatherhood. And this one, we're talking about like dadisms, or like things that you kind of, obviously we know we're dads, but there's that one moment or experience or what you're saying to your kids or what you're doing. You're like, man, this is such a dad moment. For me, I'll give you an example. This past weekend, I was going through the house, mumbling under my breath, turning off lights in rooms no one was in. And I'm like, oh my God, why do we leave all these lights on? There's no one down here. Everyone's upstairs. And like my daughters were like getting ready for, the next day for school. My wife was, she was packing for a business trip, and I'm like, what's going on? And so I go upstairs. Everyone's like, what were you talking about? I'm like, oh man, I'm such a dad right now. And I explained to them, and everyone just kind of rolled their eyes, like, all right, Dad, and then left.
Yeah, my wife's the one who's a stickler about the lights in the house, and I will freely admit that my issues with the lights is only so that I don't have to hear the issues with the lights with my wife, basically. I look at lights being on as like, it'd be great if the lights automatically went off when no one was in the house. But like, you know how I spent a summer working at Petco, right? Like this the pet store.
Yeah.
And they had a thing that taught me, it's a beautiful life philosophy that I extracted from this, is there's a thing called shrinkage, right? Where it is, no matter what they do when it comes to fish, they sell fish. No matter how optimal the conditions, no matter how great the water, no matter how the shipping and how the care is handled, they always lose, like, just for instance, 4% of like, guppies and tetras and whatever, right? Like there's nothing you can do. No matter how perfect you are,
Yeah,
you're going to lose that. And they had managers who would just lose their minds about trying to get that number down. And every time I would work there, every time I'd go back over the weekend, there'd be guys pouring over the numbers and getting upset. And we finally had like a big shot manager come in who just looked at everybody and goes, just let it go. He goes, there's thousands of these stores over the course of decades of selling fish. It's 3.5% come hell or high water. These fish are fragile. There's a lot of things that happen when they come out of the thing. Like, it's going to be 3%. Take that out. It's shrinkage. That's the cost of doing business. You're going to lose that. And in my life, the way I've extrapolated that in terms of, to get back to the lights, is with you have little kids, there's going to be a certain percentage of the time that no matter what you do, no matter how many times you say it, when they're under like 14, they're just going to leave lights on. And it sucks, and you can turn them off and keep saying it. But I just decided I'm not going to worry about it. Unfortunately, My wife does not have that mentality. So in order to keep her from yelling, why are all the lights on? I have now, as a second hand, walk around and say, why are you leaving the lights on? Like the worst offender for me is my daughter's the kind of kid who right before the bus comes remembers she needed that last thing from her room. It could be a hair tie. It could be, who the hell knows what it is, which means, as you know where I'm going with this, 90% of the mornings, me and my son are walking out the front door to go to the bus stop. She bolts in for 15 seconds to grab something, comes out and meets us at the bus stop. And of course, when I come in, her light, her bathroom light, everything in the house is on. Yep. All for the one thing she forgot.
Nice. And okay, so that reminds me of another thing that we've been kind of dealing with my youngest right now too. She's 8, and she sees her big sister be able to do things that she's not able to do just yet, right? Or my oldest had her birthday in February, and we were like, all right, she's going to be going in middle school, she's going to be doing projects and stuff, so we got her a computer. And so like my youngest is like, why does she get a computer? I'm like, what? Like, that's for her birthday. She really wanted one. It's a Google Chromebook. They use them at school. And she's like, but I should get one. I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's not really how it works. I've been said to her, like, you have the better iPad. Like, you got the most newer iPad out of the two. And she's like, yeah, but and then we're talking about things. And I said to her, like, there are certain things that you need to do. And again, you're only 8 years old. I said, but you need to be more responsible. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, remember when you left your new coat at school? I'm like, how can you forget a coat? You're always the one that's cold. You're always like, how did you do that? She goes, I don't know. And this week, guess what? She did it again. She comes home. I'm like, Daddy, I'm cold. I'm like, well, where's your jacket? She goes, oh, man. I'm like, wait, like, how can you do that? And then I go back to her, and this is another dadism thing. If you want things like a laptop or you want like she's wanting a phone, she's like, Dad, I want a phone.
You say you have to take care of things. You have to show me you can take care of things before I get you.
That's exactly my thing. Where I'm like, man, this is so apparent. And again, I know we're all dads. This is Life of Dad. I work at Life of Dad. I have 2 daughters. I get it. But there's certain things you're in the moment and you're like, man, do I sound like my dad?
Well, because the reason, like, there's no need for a caveat. Like, the reason you say that is because you can remember when you thought how lame your parents were for worrying about this stuff and doing this stuff. And like, there was no end to how lame and stupid your mom and dad were for worrying about lights or telling you forgot stuff, because you at 10 or 12 in your head were just so damn cool that anything they said was stupid. And now here you are, like walking around the house, turning off lights, muttering to yourself, or me, which is like my little head game is like, okay, I know when we came downstairs, we shut all the lights off. When I opened the door after them getting on the bus, is there 3 lights on or 6? Did she need something out of my bedroom somehow, which somehow happens if she left it over the weekend? Like, there's times where I open the door and I'm like, this girl was in the house for 15 seconds and put on 9 lights. Like I don't even know, like, did she just do it for fun? Like, she knows how annoying this is.
It's an Olympic record for her.
yeah. I'm like, and then she'll come home and I'll say, hey, what did you get this morning? And she'll just be like, oh, I drew that picture for my friend and I thought it was upstairs, but I showed it to mommy last night in the bathroom. And then I came out and I was petting the dog and I sat with him, so I thought it was there. And so she retraces the 9 places she was to find that. But when we're leaving for soccer practice and I say, where are your shin guards? It's like, I have absolutely no idea. They're disappeared in the thin air.
When you talk about like retracing steps, do you remember that? I don't know if they still do it anymore, but that Family Circle cartoon, like maybe like one per weekday, and then maybe like a whole strip during the Sunday comics section. Yeah. But I always love the ones where the kids kind of retrace their steps, like, oh, tell your brothers and sisters it's time for dinner, and instead of going right into the room, they go in backyard, garage, go to a friend's house, check all these things you see. Like, that's how your daughter just was like when you were talking about that. I can imagine those little dotted lines.
yeah, that's how she is with that stuff. It makes me laugh because I'll say to her, like, as we're leaving, like, do you have everything? Yes. Okay. Then something about the door opening, like, triggers something in her brain. And it's not a need thing. It's just, oh, I was going to show my friend this keychain. And it's like, oh, all right. And then she, she never misses the bus. So luckily, like, I don't have any issue with her. Like, she's not stalling for anything. She just, that's the moment in her day where her mind remembers what she's supposed to remember. And that's what happens. But it is a total, like, dad moment when I walk back in the house, and it's the first time you're up at 6:15, 6:30 with them to get them ready for school. So like all parents who are the one who takes the kid to the bus, that minute when they walk in the house, the kids are gone, you take that deep, relaxing breath and you're like, finally, they're out of the house. But then the first thing you have to do is like, clean up their mess, which is like the lights and like, oh, great, you didn't put your, milk bowl in the sink. And like you spend the next 3 minutes when they're not even there, like fixing their garbage.
No doubt. Love it. You kind of mentioned a couple of mine. What are some of your dadisms or certain things that you just like recently done? You're like, yep, fatherhood, man, is suiting me well.
I have two, but they're slightly different than I guess how my dad would have done them because we have like DVR and TiVo and stuff like that. But like the thing that seems to continually recur is when it's like the kids go to bed, and lately they've just been sleeping in each other's rooms every night, which they just got into this habit of doing, which is fine. But like I always try to get them to bed around a halftime or a quarter, especially of like I'm a big basketball fan, as you know. So around the Celtics, halftime or third quarter with the central time zone seems to be, that puts us either at like 8 or 8:45, depending on what kind of night we're having with them. And like, yeah. For whatever reason, it just feels like they know when it's like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter or something, and they just start acting like maniacs. And I have to like do the thing where I know my dad couldn't pause TV, but like I pause the game, which already annoys me because like I know on Twitter and stuff, like I'm gonna now be behind on everything. And I'm upstairs and it's like, you guys got to go to bed. And just even like, I don't even have the energy to say it right because I'm so over myself, like how lame it is to do this. Like as I'm walking up, I'm mentally like watching myself from afar, like you suck so much, man. Like you're spending your night. This is the third time you've walked up there and all you're doing is doing the thing where the dad's like, guys, please, you got to go to bed. You just have to go to sleep. And then I walk down, I put the game back on, I hear giggling, then you hear footsteps, right? And it's like, it's just so stupid. It's so lame. You have to go to bed every night. And I don't get mad about it anymore, but it's the total, like I see myself doing it. And I just feel so lame having to do it. Like I wish I could just shut the door and go to bed and not worry about it.
Yeah.
But a few times that I've decided like, you know what, screw them, whatever. I'll go up at 11 o'clock and they're playing. So like you have to stay on them.
Oh, for sure, man. You hear that like pitter patter, thump 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 thump. Like, what are you doing?
I can't remember which college football game it was. It was one of the. It was like a Thursday or Friday night game towards the end of the season, and it was Thursday night. So it was a school night, and they were just being awful. They were laughing, getting out of bed, and playing, and it was already like 8:45, and they should have been in bed. And I said, you know what? I'm done. Like I'm gonna watch this game. So like I just put the volume up. My wife goes to bed pretty early most nights, so she was already asleep. I was in the family room, and I just forgot about them. Like I cracked the beer open, and I said, screw them. I'm not gonna spend the next 25 minutes going back up and forth. The game ended. I go to take the dog out, and what do I hear? Just what you said. Little footsteps. Walk upstairs. Dude, they're playing like Candyland in one of the beds. It's 11:15 at night. And I was like, you guys have to get up in like 7 hours. They were a mess the next morning. It backfired completely.
Oh, man. All right. You said you had another one too, right?
Yeah. The other one is so I don't think you do either. I don't let my kids win in anything. Board games, basketball. And I feel like even in like my kids are 6 and 8 now, 6 and 7.5. And, the games we play, Guess Who and, Go Fish, like they can win. There's such games of chance that like they can win very easily without, I don't have to let them win. Right.
Yeah.
And my son just cheats every possible which way you can think of in every possible game. And I remember doing the same thing and being yelled at for cheating. And I was like thinking like, what's the big deal? Like, I just want to win. And so I found myself saying things like, it's not how it's not whether you cheat, it's how you play the game, or like all those stupid sayings, which are true and whatever I mean. But like last night we were playing Guess Who. And I said to my son, like word for word, it's like cheaters never, what is it? Losers never win, or cheaters never win,
yeah.
Losers never cheat. Like whatever that phrase was, it came out the right way last night. And I honestly wanted to just shoot myself in the brain and just like roll down the stairs.
You become a cliche factory, right?
Yeah. I'm like, Grant, cheaters never win and winners never cheat. Like, that's why I said it. And he looked at me and I was like, I know, I should just go jump out a window. I can't believe I just said that. But like, I've asked you not to cheat. It's guess who? Like, all he'll do is go to the bathroom and like, try to look at your card or like tackle me and look at the call. Like, all you have to do is find out who the person is and you win. And he'll like try to distract, and like, it's the easiest game to not cheat in. So now I have to put the card in my pocket. And that way I know he won't cheat. And then it's no fun because I don't remember, like he'll say, does the person have blue eyes? And I'm like, oh, I don't remember. I take it out of my pocket and play. And so, yeah, I'm the guy who's spouting out like, John Wooden phrases at my 6-year-old.
I love it. Well, if anybody's going to be throwing out John Wooden phrases to their kids, it's definitely you, man.
Yeah. I say these things and, you find yourself saying them. And the reason I think it's frustrating is because you find it like you're on autopilot.
Yes.
Like you're not thinking. And you're like, this is what's taking up my brain space right now. Like, yeah. I have all these interests in my life that I want to do. I have all these things I want to accomplish. And I've spent 20 minutes walking up and down the stairs saying the same thing, go to bed. Or you've been pouncing around the house, just turning lights off, wondering how it's possible that 3, grown human beings could keep leaving lights on. Like, these aren't things that can take up a grown man's time, right? But that's all they do.
Yep. And then another thing, too, that just actually happened this morning. I'm finishing up cleaning up after their breakfast, and I'm using the garbage disposal, and it just stops, and like the motor underneath just starts smoking. So like, the engine's just done. And yeah. I immediately thought like, great, this is what I'm doing tonight. I'm going to Lowe's and getting up a new, garbage disposal, installing it. And I'm just like, too bad I wanted to do some other, like some fun stuff and relax. Yeah. Nope, not anymore. And I'm like...
Dude, that is such a great dad thing where you project how your day just got sucked out of your life. Like, sometimes it's stuff like that. And then like, sometimes it's like house stuff where like twice a year, I put off, like I do the mulching, like all around our house. Like I go to Home Depot, I get like 60 bags, I load them up. Like it takes half a day, like whatever. I've just been doing it ever since we've had a house. I've been doing it. I hate it. It's frustrating.
Don't you play that ultimate game though in your head? Like, all right, how many? I can do it with 6 bags. I can totally just do 6 bags.
Oh yeah, I know how many I think I need. Like I know the exact number now. Like we've done it in this house enough where I know the exact number of bags, exactly how much time it's going to take. But I would gladly never ever do it if it wasn't something that like my wife thinks it looks nice, then she'll go put out flowers. Like I get it. Like I'm on board with the whole idea of doing it.
Yeah. I
just hate doing it, and it's a chore I don't want to do. And I don't have a date. Like literally, if my wife never said a word, I would never do it. It would just years would go by where we'd have like very subpar mulch. And every year, at some point, I'll notice like, okay, the weather's getting warm. It's early spring. It's end of March. One day we're gonna walk in the door. My wife's gonna pull up and start walking to the front door and go, and I'll know she's gonna say like, I think it's time to do it, right? And all I think is what you just thought, which is, well, whatever I was thinking about Saturday morning is now gone, and I'm going to be outside humping bags of mulch for 4 hours.
And that, my friend, is living the life of dad. We hope you guys enjoyed this like dadisms episode. Feel free to email me art@lifeofdad.com about your dadisms, or just shoot us a quick tweet of whether it's Life of Dad Show at art83 and then at John_Finkel on Twitter. Just share your dadisms with us, and please leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, and also pick up the Life of Dad book. John and I wrote this together. It comes out May 7th, but you can do the pre-orders now. We greatly appreciate it. Amazon, Books A Million.
Yes,
pre-order. Great Father's Day gift for anybody who, not just becoming a father, but a father in general. Just get it. It's a great book, and we hope you guys enjoy it. But I hope you guys really enjoy it. I love this episode, man. I feel like this is an episode that can spur on more stuff. So, for John and myself, thanks again for checking out the Life of Dad Show. We appreciate it. And as always, you guys have a great night and a better tomorrow.
Thanks so much for listening to the Life of Dad Show. You know where to find us, lifeofdad.com, and on Twitter and Facebook.